What does it mean to be engaged in today's workplace? How do we inspire, inform, and connect a working community? How do we build a culture of irreplaceability, trust, and listening to keep people on board and rowing together? Welcome to Post-COVID Leadership Advice. This series is all about building a workplace culture where people feel heard, supported, informed, and connected. This is a roadmap for leaders at any level, at any organization.
Quiet quitting and quiet firing. What is quiet quitting? This is the act of an employee psychologically withdrawing from their work, no longer giving the 110%, no longer going above and beyond and over-delivering, but just doing what is necessary to get the job done without going overboard. So not doing so much that they get fired, not doing so much of that, let's say the quitting part, so that they lose their jobs, but doing just the bare minimum to get by. And this is happening more and more. It's a reaction to this kind of cycle of over-delivery and the culture of perpetual reaction and perpetual workload that we've now swung away from. This has to do with engagement, and engagement numbers have been going down ever since, let's say, the last 20 years, slightly. But then, of course, post-pandemic, we're seeing a fairly steep drop in engagement and exhaustion and burnout. And quiet quitting is an expression of this. So how many people are quietly quitting? It seems that up to 46% of us are burned out and are in an unsustainable and intense environment. And up to 44% of people who quit do so because of workload and over extension and intensity. The other side of this is quiet firing. And this is what happens when a manager pulls back psychologically and disengages from a team member and just lets them dangle and twist without any support. And there are measurable signs of this and unmeasurable soft and fuzzy signs of this that are very difficult to quantify. So things like if you're being skipped over for promotion, if you don't get that bonus, if you're being sidelined for a project, if structure is being changed, you're being reassigned to another team, you're having fewer team members than before, if you have been taken off certain high-profile projects, if you have been given one less intern. There are a lot of these little small signs that add up to a larger picture, that somebody's trying to tell you something without actually saying, hey, we don't want you here anymore. Quiet firing makes it possible for people to leave a team without going through the messiness of actually firing somebody, because that has a legal implication to it. People, of course, have rights. They have rights to transition money, to compensation. People have to show why the person is being fired. And sometimes there's no reason at all. It's just you have to tighten the belt and you have to eliminate personnel from a team because costs are too high. But if you actually let somebody go, that's a whole huge can of worms that you don't want to go there. So quiet firing is this kind of sneaky backdoor way to push somebody out the door without actually doing the legal work behind it. Along with the hard signs, the measurable signs, there are also these kinds of unmeasurable signs, like your manager doesn't show up for the one-on-ones. The manager is constantly pushing back or not even coming to those one-on-ones. Ghosting the employee during a scheduled meeting. This actually happens a lot without the manager maybe even being aware that they're doing this. It could also be that once you do have these one-to-ones, that they're all business. You are ticking off boxes. How are you doing on this thing? How are you doing on that thing? Check, check, check. Everything good? Yes, good. Okay, see you next week. Well, that's not really a one-to-one either. That can all be done in an email. You don't need to sit with a person to do that. But what are the one-to-ones for? How are you doing? Where do you see yourself? What is blocking you? What needs to be done differently? What is in your way? What is the problem that you're seeing? What kinds of work do you like to do more? What kinds of tasks do you like doing less? This is what a one-to-one is for. The listener, the manager is engaged, listening, taking notes, seeing what they can do to fix certain things, and not just going through a laundry list of where does this project stand, where does that project stand, because this, can be done on paper. It could also be that this manager is giving excessive negative criticism all the time, sometimes in front of other team members. If there's nothing good that this person is doing, then that is very disengaging, and it sort of sinks in to the rest of the team. It kind of bleeds across and infects engagement across the board when one person is being excessively chastised. This is not always the case, and it's true that negative things do need to be pulled out, but there has to be positive feedback mixed in. There should be a good balance of both. Usually, the formula is 3 positive comments to 1 negative comment for a normal average employee. And if there's a lot of negative criticism going on, how much of this responsibility is the manager's? How clear has the manager been about a certain task, what is expected of them, and what the delivery ought to be? It's clear from the statistics that not enough people feel that they have a clear idea of what they're expected to do. So only about 1/3 of people asked under the age of 30, is it clear to you what the expectations are, what your job role is? And 2/3 of people actually said, no, it is not clear. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. And I get this negative feedback that I can't link to a very clear objective. Well, this could be a sign of quiet firing. So if you're a team lead, there are a few things that you can do to make sure that this isn't happening, whether you're aware of it or not. So number one thing is make sure that those one-to-ones happen, and make sure that those sessions are used appropriately to really hear what's going on beyond the work tasks that need to be gone through, but really see where is this person at and what can be done to help. Thanking a person, make sure that they are thanked in an appropriate way. So not just the generalized, oh, thanks, that doesn't really mean anything, but specific. Thank you for staying on long after the meeting to deliver that deck that I asked for. Thank you for jumping in and helping me find an external speaker. Whatever it is this person did, but make it specific, make it relevant and timely. And public, if you can. If there's a team meeting, it's really nice to thank people in front of their teammates. That makes them feel really good and really special. Define shared goals. If people have some say in what their objectives are and what their benchmarks are, how does success look in 3 or 4 months' time, then they are more committed to making sure those things are realized. So write down the objectives, make sure that this is a joint conversation rather than a one-way street, and then let's just see how much easier it is to reach those milestones together. And finally, it's important to really respect that private time. So at the end of the day, you can certainly send emails, but you're not expecting a reply. You can even state that. I see it in people's signatures all the time. Just because I'm sending you this at 11 o'clock at night, that's my problem, not yours. You are not expected to reply. I've seen that. It's cute. It's clear. But you can also say that in so many words. Just say, hey, this isn't urgent, but I'm just trying to clear my plate. So here's some information at 11 o'clock at night. Respect the personal time. Respect the private time. And you can also state that in a team meeting. At the end of the day, you are not expected to log back in. The expectation is that you work efficiently during your day, and at the end of your day, you should have it all done. And if you can't get it all done, talk to me about your workload. But you shouldn't have to log in at midnight to finish up your day. So that's how to get out of quiet quitting and quiet firing.
Thank you for being a part of this episode. Subscribe, follow, so you never have to miss another one. These ideas are based on the Comic Books for Executive series. Go to postcovidhandbook.com